Welcome back, everybody, to College Cod. Cash is still here, but I said this last week, and I don't know why we keeping up with this theme, but yet again, a much less attractive man with a lot less hair is now replacing Corn here on the desk. But the hype still here. We have a banger matchup here. Cash, it's going to be Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, going up against Dakota State University. Let's take a look at this head-to-head to see how these two teams are going to fare out, because I have to imagine when we look at some of these score lines, this has the potential to be a banger. We got 6-0 on the side of SIUE and 5-1 on Dakota State.
Well, and looking in, speaking of 6-0s, we have 6-0 across the board.
Oh my Lord.
For SIUE. It has been 3-0s as far as the eye can see for them, and really not much better way you'd want to start off your season for Trojan Esports on the other side of things. Still faring very well, but when you see perfection on one side, not much else you can look at apart from that. Lots of red here for us, Dandro.
Yeah, lots of red. I'm glad that you called that out, because I mean, usually when we pull these up, we're kind of looking at to see, is there like a crutch game mode? Is there a game mode that maybe they're not super comfortable with? But when you are SIUE, it looks like you're pretty damn good at everything. I think that's probably safe to say. I know we got a lot of hype in the chat, people trying to rep their school coming on in here. You love to see it. When we kind of look at the Trojans a little bit, they're obviously feeling pretty good in their hard point. So what that tells me is that when you're 7-1 on this record, is that when we are getting to that game 4, they are closing out a lot of these series in that 3-1. But what's kind of interesting to me, Cash, is when we look at that control, they're 4-2. It's the only game mode that they have more than one loss in. So kind of lets me know that they're maybe trying to hope a lot of their series, and particularly this one, are able to really go the distance, at least get to that game number 4. Maybe you can sneak out one of these early hard points and an S&D and kind of wave off the control that's there, so maybe you can grab that second hard point that's on in there. But I think this is still, it's still not anything that's like super crazy that I think that we have to worry about when you come on into this, right? It's anything can happen. You'd love, if you are the Trojans, to be able to put a 1 on some of those columns there for SIUE. I know that would be great. But let's talk a little bit about the maps that we have upcoming in this series, because they're pretty interesting when we look across the board now. We got a double Hacienda into a double vault, and we are ending on a just absolute bang out skyline. Talk to me a little bit about how you feel looking at some of these maps, because this feels like basically bread and butter. Hopefully you've smashed these maps enough.
Hacienda is going to be one to kick things off, kind of like you were saying, where it's something that if you have good reps on, you should walk away with cleanly. I think for SIU, their focus is going to be getting control of the map early. They want to get out to a dominant score line, and given that they 3-0'd everyone, sure, that doesn't tell the full story of how close maybe the maps played within a series, but it's one where if you open the door for them, they're going to walk away and run away with these maps. Trojan Esports need to keep things close, and on a map like Hacienda, your submachine guns have to come correct. Lots of places they can get loose and look to make their impact felt, relieve pressure off the AR players, and look to go from there. Rotation's going to be everything as you're crossing the map, the entirety of the map. So a double Hacienda to kick things off is going to be exciting to see what these submachine guns are looking to bring to the table early. SIUE going to be in a great position to apply pressure.
And I think that's going to be a really good sort of key indicator for us, because we know when it comes to vault, just knowing how to play that map, and you can play that map extremely fast. So if those SMGs do get off to a hot start, they're feeling their guns, when we move on over into vault, I feel like you're gonna see a lot of the same thing. So a lot of momentum, I feel like, is at play here in between these two maps. I love that you brought that up, because especially, and even on Hacienda and Vault 2, it's always the ARs, right? You mentioned relieving the pressure from the ARs, and I think that's going to be super, critical on both of these maps that we have coming on in here. So only one way to find out, though, Cash, that's to jump on in. Hacienda Hardpoint. I know we were all very excited to see this map come back into the map pool. It's been fun watching everybody get used to it, try to figure out, obviously, we had this back in Black Ops 4, but it's a brand new game, brand new engine. Everybody's still trying to figure out how do they want to play this map. And it's definitely going to come on down to the SMGs. Very curious to see how we're rocking this one.
We'll get things kicked off here early on, and it's going to be electric pacing, I imagine, from the Cougars of Southern Illinois of Edwardsville, and Trojan Esports is going to keep the game manageable where they can, and there'll be Chow's top window early on. The double push to the left side is going to be taken care of. Traded out. Sin, though, going to collect for a couple that'll allow them to jump on time. Send for 3 in the feed. Why not? So kick things off. Strong start for the Cougars. You get the 4th in tow, and already out to dominance, already out to a 10-point lead, and that not looking to slow down anytime soon.
Sin with a absolutely electric start there to help give your team some of this early points on this P1 Fountain Hill. And that's going to allow you to kind of set up, read some of these spawns that are coming on in. It's a D-Day and Dolan holding on in, Dolan in that U, and you just can't buy a gunfight right now. If you are the Trojans, it looks like Crisp Quesadilla, the only one finding some success here. You managed to get onto the point, but you don't actually even get any time there. This is going to be a full 30 off of P1 for the Cougars as you get ready to move on over to P2. Hopefully the Trojans stop the bleeding early already, but so far it's the Cougars coming out swinging.
They definitely need to stop the bleeding, and it's a very long hard point. It's a very long series, but to come out swinging the way the Cougars have is going to be a sign of, okay, maybe some nerves working in for Hacienda here. We need to slow things down, keep these gunfights in front of us. Don't let the Cougars fly at us and push the pace. Hold some irons, get a couple of picks, and go from there. They have back spawns. Now they just need to work this site as a team, 2 for 1 in the feed. They're going to get the break. They just need to clean up a couple more kills.
Well, this is looking already pretty good. This is something we've seen time and time again. You get that kind of full 4 dead, you get those back spawns, and you are just flying from ramp at P2. It looks like the Trojans haven't been able to do that. We're on top of Lambo, looking out towards the rock. You rip one off the heady, but thankfully the trades are there. You'll be able to keep milking this time, so you don't let this one run away from you too bad. If you are the Cougars, a great way to stabilize this map. I like how you brought that up, shaking off some of the nerves on this first Hacienda. I think, you know, when you have come on out and you have Sin just with that basically 4 streak just to immediately wipe you off, it'd be real easy to get rattled. Trojans keeping their cool.
Trying to get plat control, that's going to be snuffed out, so it'll be 3 clean on transition for the Cougars. Is they're going to get set up how they want to. Poor P3. Well push is going to be what the come in is for Trojans. With flank being worked in by Briggs, you're going to try to wait for that to evolve, but you're getting picked from the front side of things, so he needs to move quickly here, finds a pick over towards Plat, now going to reposition here and try to get his teammates an opening.
Definitely like what Dolan's trying to do right now. A little bit of patience. You're trying to make this read. Where are the Trojans coming from? It looks like it's basically just a full head-on head as we see 3 spawn up from the Cougars, and they're already trying to make their way onto the outside for new. Crisp Quesadilla will claim some of this scrap time that's there, but you're seeing some movement already go across towards that rock in there, and ooh, you try and make that ego chow. It's just not going to be allowed. So some great positioning right now for the Cougars to lock down this point. We'll go ahead, pop up here on the rock, 2 dead into the feed, but it's going to be back and forth blows from the Trojans and the Cougars. And so far right now, it looks like it's just going to be about who can maybe hold some of these spawns. You got number 6 playing the cutoff, but it's just not going to be enough. Looks like SIUE will come out on top, and this is still a very close game.
Back and forth. Really just coming down to explosive plays to get a quick break, and this is going to be no substantial time either team has held to close out this first set of rotations. They're playing really condensed on this point, but it's working out for them as they're finding these picks. Mel's going to tear with the Jackal here, and as the rest of the push looks to come in, you want to clean up 1, try to get the second. It's going to be 3 for 2 in the feed, and with the final clearance, that will be a near full 60 for the Cougars going into the next set of rotations. They've managed to get a little bit of a gap going into this second P1 where they were able to dominate off the rip to get the lion's share of time. Trojans Esports, they've kept this one close and scrappy, of course, and I feel like they'll be more confident going into the second set of rotations as Quesadilla going to continue to fry and find these kills. It'll be them garnering time earlier.
Yeah, I mean, second set, you have to be able to hold this P1 and really convert off of it after you basically had just a full 30 points, go to the Cougars so easily. You do not want that to happen again. And if you're well, you've already kind of kickstarted it. You find one on the point. You find one sliding on out here at the top halls. A great way to hold it on down. Crisp Quesadilla is going to find Dolan, and Melt brings them on down. The Trojans have woken up. They are bringing their chariot closer here, but it's a Sin to answer on, back with a multi-kill. It is just haymaker after haymaker between these two squads to keep it on in. Everybody flying on through, but a moment of respite. The Cougars, they'll hold this point a little bit more. We're trying to make it happen. You're going to be able to stop the time, but you got to make your way to P2 right now as it will go ahead and spawn. We know how crucial these back spawns are. We can see D-Day trying to cut those off.
Able to find one in lobby, now going to back up wisely as a couple players pushing through well as he's on the retreat. So what kind of timing can they find is just one player to deal with, and they do. They turn their sights forward, but D-Day on the backup, going to be late, but going to find the better end of timing. Does he know a second player is here? Doesn't even matter as he's able to snap, but not able to get the kill, so his teammate's going to rotate Try to work this trade quickly and is able to find the timing. So now they get the spawns in the back once again. They know parallels are going to be here for a moment. They need to focus their attention towards the front, but Quesadilla finds an opening, finds a timing. At least they're able to find one kill.
That's 3 dead for the Cougars, though. Quesadilla, he'll find number 4. You're going to start hitting that ramp spawn, but for now, you're able to hopefully grab some of these final few remaining seconds. If you are the Trojans, do not let the Cougars get on into this, get this scrap time. And that's exactly what happens. They'll go ahead, slow the game down just a little bit. We'll find one at the rock on transition right now, but you still have these back spawns, and I like how the Trojans are setting on up for this next point. Over here on the fences, CH trying to maybe make your way through this top office, maybe catch anybody in plat, but it's a full move through the middle for the Cougars. It's going to be D-Day opening it on up.
And this pinch needs to come in quickly for Melts as his teammates are getting picked from the front, and now they're going to push through and get spawned to the back. The arrows flip around to look where these new spawns are coming in for Trojan Esports as a quick break comes in, and really since P4 they've let this game kind of get blown apart. A 60-point lead, and now it's going to be 4 in the feed 3 by the hands of CH, and perhaps running away with this one. If they can get the back 30 seconds, that's going to put them over 200 points. A near 100-point lead if they get it cleanly, and Trojan Esports may be running out of gas here on map 1. They need to make a big stand.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a really close game, but the Cougars have been able to run away with it. You'll get some of this final few remaining 10 seconds if you are the Trojans, but I don't know if it's enough because look where the spawns are coming in here, Catch. It's all the Cougars. They got rock underneath control. You're starting to see some movement. You'll find one on the transition, which is great if you are the Trojans. You got to keep this momentum. You got to keep this heat rolling to move on through. Well, you get flashed, you find one, but Melts will answer on back here, pistol in hand. It's not going to be enough. The Trojans, you're going to spawn in and make one lower effort to try and push on through. The Cougars, though, not going to be pushed out that easy. So far, it's just back and forth. 3 dead in the feed. Trojans keep this one alive.
Find a way to get the break and battle out. They're going to need top control here, but Dolan locking down this push back towards open as he's able to find one. The trade comes in quickly, so now you have numbers back on P4, but D-Day going to line up a couple, tries to get the third and isn't able to. They're keeping the time scrappy. They're walking away with the back near 20 seconds. If they can find this last kill, and that'll be the case, put them over 200 points. Put this one what feels like out of reach for Trojans Esports, as on an open P1 they have to find a way to get a majority of time. If anything, gray time is not going to be bad if they can keep the Cougars off of it, but they do need to find a way to walk away with time of their own.
Yeah, your opportunity to kind of get back into this game is dwindling. We're moving to this next set of rotations, and this has to basically be the last one we will probably see on the map. Like you mentioned, upgrade time. Hey, it's A-okay off of this P1, but you cannot let them get some of these points, as right now Crisp Quesadilla trying to put this Jackal PDW to work here at the top halls. Hopefully no one from the Cougars can gain this positioning, but it looks like it's all trades going towards the Cougars. 30 points away. They can finish it here if they play perfect. Trojans, this is your last dish effort for right now, but it's going to be tough when you have Sin just ripping people off the heady, pistol in hand. Strider brings them on down. You'll hold this one. The line is here. I don't think it was enough, though. We will have to go to P2.
But they already have players sitting inside for free. They don't even worry about back spawns. They know that Trojan Esports have to sell out for this. So if they can just work a pick, they should be fine. They do, and they get the spawns in the back once again. You've got Sen playing cutoff. No repentance coming in here for the moment as he's continuing to do the dirty work for the squad. Looking to close this one out. 3 seconds remaining. No one going to be close. Getting picked off at every turn. For a moment there, Trojan Esports showed flashes of being able to hang in, but I think that first P4 where they were able to get 45 seconds, the largest chunk of time we had seen, that opened the door for them, and from there they didn't look back.
Well, through those first kind of couple sets, it was looking close. It was just trades of 10 or 15 seconds there, but I think you were absolutely right. It felt like the Trojans, they just ran out of steam once they kind of got, of course, over there, cut into some of those extra points. It was just they weren't able to feel like they ever get set up. That was my problem. As you can see some of the stats here, 36 and 19 from D-Day. Whew! Boy, was shooting. Those are the type of stat lines we like to see. 29 and 15 out of Sin, almost a 2.0 there as well. absolutely cooking right now. It really was just the Cougars straight up kind of running away with it. And I feel like, you know, it wasn't like they necessarily were like absolutely slamming the Trojans, but just the Cougars, they kind of were able to create that lead. And it was just all about just like making some good trades that resulted in them being able to hop onto the point. And I feel like at the end of the day, it's just kind of what they figured all they had to do was like, yo, these kids are just running at the point. Let's just make trades. And then we'll be able to just, you know, soak up basically 20 seconds until we have to basically win the next wave.
They did a great job at managing those situations, and like you said, just knowing, okay, we need to win a wave of gunfights and maybe surge forward to try to pick players off and slow down their push back towards the site. They did a wonderful job at that to walk away with map 1. They're playing with an air of confidence that you can just tell in every gunfight they're taking. They feel good about not only their trust in one another, but the way they're playing each of these maps. The Hacienda looking cool, calm, and collected on a respawn now. We'll go to a slowed down search and destroy where they hope to keep that same air of, you know, confidence in one another and their decisiveness in the play calls, especially in one that relies so heavily on what the decision's going to be at the start of each round. Trojan Esports, we talk about it so often for search and destroy. You slow down, you can catch your breath, you can get in a better spot that, you know, maybe you can make sense of things, especially if you're playing a team that likes to push pace. They really need to respect this mode here and find a way to strike back 1-1. I fear that if they don't take this one, it's going to be hard for them to claw back out of. Sure, we've seen a near reverse sweep already tonight, but again, with how fast the Cougars have come out and played, they definitely need to find a way to get a grip back on the series.
No, I think the search and destroy will probably be, you know, the good heat check of this series that we need that you were kind of mentioning. I love that you kind of bring that up. It's if you are the Cougars, you have to keep riding this momentum that you created in map number 1. You obviously, you know, you felt it kind of slipping away from you, but you were able to lock it on down. You were the better team. And now as you get ready to head on to map 2, you want to keep that aggressiveness. But if you are, of course, the Trojans on the other side, like you brought up, this is your opportunity to breathe. This is your opportunity to reset. You can bounce back on in, take this S&D. All right, now we're kind of cooking with gas a little bit. We know they love that sort of fourth map hard point, which then would put us into another S&D if we get all the way to that game 5, right? So I feel like if you are kind of the Trojans right now, that's probably what you're looking at doing. You'd love to take the search and destroy in Hacienda, vault control, you know, try your best obviously to win the map, but if you lose it, hey, don't worry too much. Really focus on that vault hard point in that map number 4 to get down to that skyline search and destroy. Or if you've already taken the one S&D in the series before, hey, maybe you're feeling a little confident. But based off of just some of the plays that we saw in that first map on hardpoint, obviously hardpoint search and destroy very different. What are some of the tendencies that you saw from some of those players that maybe will be a clutch factor here in the search and destroy?
I think for the Cougars, it's just, again, they trust they have in one another to rotate whenever someone falls. We saw, you know, you were able to get one in the back if you were SIUE, and then your player from lobby rotated back towards back truck to be able to make sure you kept spawn. So they trust one another in the play calls where, again, if you want to get aggressive and take a gunfight and you fall, we trust that we can fill those spots around the map and make sure we still aren't lacking in what we're trying to do, which is applying pressure, which is keeping off spawn, you know, the Trojans to take another gunfight before they can even get to the hills. So I think the clutch moment for them in the search and destroy is going to be the same thing. You trust your playmakers to make plays, and we obviously see that that's Sin, you know, kind of the guy they trust to roam around and go and kind of do as he pleases. So you expect that trend to continue, but they're just confident in what they can do around the map. They know that, hey, even if Sin tries to make a play and it doesn't work out, that doesn't spoil, you know, the plan entirely. It's just something where we trust what he's able to do, and when it pans out, it's going to bode great for the round. And if it doesn't, well, we'll just regain and go on to the next.
Yeah, and I kind of have flashbacks to D-Day on that P2 or P3 that was happening over there at Lambeau. And, you know, him being able just to kind of hold that backside, catch that player making their way through lobby, catch the people that are spawning in the back. And even though maybe you don't get that final elimination on the second player, you still soften them up enough that your teammate can come on out. You know the comms are there. It's an immediate trade on over. And those are the type of things that I think are really good to see, that you have that communication between teammates. You understand where you need to lock it on down, where you need to hold some of these angles. And on a map like Hacienda, it's really easy to get lost on it, right? There's a lot of nooks and crannies. This thing looks like an English muffin sometimes when you're trying to move around it. So having those players who understand where to hold those power positions, how to play those off angles, how to catch somebody trying to maybe wrap from one bomb site to the other is really, really clutch. And I think D-Day is a player that can absolutely make that happen. So I'll be really curious to get ready to move on in to the search and destroy. I mean, man, where are we gonna go in this map as we are kickstarting it off already with the Trojans on attack? Let's see what this first round has in store for us.
See a quick push towards B as the mid-map gunfights are being once again won by the Cougars, and now they play complete bully ball to push through lobby and P2. Dolan's going to be the one, and you're completely trapped on the site, plain and simple. You're going to try to get bombed down, but and have an eerie feeling that everyone's going to be behind you. The picks come in. You're able to find a couple if you're Briggs, but with everyone swarming quickly, the Cougars, in the blink of an eye, able to close that one out, and plain and simple came down to opening gunfights, and that opened up that B site where you were trying to go for your Trojans. Once those gunfights don't go your way, you're essentially trapped, and the collapse comes in quickly.
Yeah, but we saw the two-piece right there. I mean, that very quickly went almost back into their favor as they made it happen. So, but either way, it's those first two opening picks, like you mentioned, top hall, that are really, really clutch. You immediately put your opponents into the 2v4. It's going to create immense pressure on top of you. So you managed to secure round number one pretty easy. Let's see, what can you do here on your own offense? This is just some quick movements already towards the top hall. Sin absolutely ripping people off these headies. You get in some great damage. You're going to back that player down. They have to move away, but it's actually the other side of the map. It's going to be Whir claiming first blood.
Brug's working to the back, but that's going to let the B side go completely. So he's wrapped through this north portion of the map and doesn't have eyes on anyone. So maybe they're thinking the bomb's going A, but the timing doesn't go their way. And the kills aren't going either. You're pushed up, you flip the map on its head essentially, so you're trying to work these kills, and Briggs going back through this P2 side of the map. His teammates winning gunfights, so a 1 versus 3. Dolan's got to win it. He's got to get eyes on bomb. He could be on the worst end of timing here in a moment.
Wait. You've snuck on through. Dolan, you take down bomb. You brought them on up. You just have to make sure they don't hop on it right now. You're playing alongside this rock, but you get a little bit too antsy. You had the opportunity to clutch up the 1v3. You hit the timing. Absolutely crazy. You find the guy off bomb, but you maybe just get a little bit too aggressive there.
I mean, the handshake timing was wonderful, and I think he just got a little scattered trying to figure out where the last shot was coming from. Cleared left. Looked at it maybe a little too long for a player to swing, and that allowed the gunfight rock to be won by Trojan Esports. They responded in a round that could have very easily gone poorly with the timing that went down, challenging through open. So sigh relief, you tie things up 1-1, you get the defuse. Now on the offensive side of things, you're going to try to make things stick again. You're hoping to not get stuck on a bomb site in particular.
Seeing some fast movement over towards this A side as we're starting to see some fights already start to break out. Bruce, you've been able to make your way through the top, though. You find one, you find two. Dolan, though, will be able to answer on back, put you in a 2v3. Well, make that a 2v1 in the blink of an eye. Crisp quesadilla on an island to get the sour cream, get the guacamole, because that's exactly what you're going to need to eat this one on up. 0-2 so far, as you're now just trying to find out where are these final two players playing on out, and well, you might be able to find some timings behind you to maybe get onto B bomb site, or maybe you make this full wrap over to A. If you are SIUE, you at least take the time to play together, and I do like that.
The group up comes in, and they're just going to trust a retake, simply put. You're going to shoulder, see if you can get someone across B, but again, with how confident these guys are playing off of one another, now you can see the movement come in. They're going to clear the B site. That's going to be all the info they need. Okay, we've got a hightailed across map. Bomb should be going down now. And with them wrapping for the retake, Quesadilla has no idea where these players are pushing from. Though he has the time on his side, he does not have information.
You're able to find names off the ground, so that'll be kind of step number one. You drop down here into the stairs. You're trying to check on through. You find one at the top. Do you know where the second one is? You do not. Some great trades coming on through. You got plenty of time to hop this bomb. I love the teamwork coming out from SIUE. This was something we mentioned before we hopped on into this map, right? It was the communication. It was the teamwork of the Cougars. And that's just a perfect example of it. The second they realize it's a 2v1, they do not let themselves get split up. They do not let themselves just get pieced in two separate gunfights. It's the second that maybe one of them drops, the other one is there to move on in to clutch up the round. That'll put them on 2-1 here. But so far, the Trojans, they have been looking good. I will say that.
They've looked good. They've faltered at some points, but still very much in striking distance of the search and destroy. The Cougars looking to run it down mid, and I mean, why not? They're winning these gunfights. They expect the Chow to come through. He's able to win the gunfight off the read, and now continuing to push to the spawn side. It's just going to cause Trojan Esports to have to play with their heads on a swivel. The map completely flipped around. No sense being made of it just yet. You're trying to back up, retake the real estate that you lost here in the opening gunfight as we're head on a swivel. Not sure where this next fight's coming from, as the Cougars have completely slowed this one down.
I like that. I like that opportunity. You've kind of been playing at a nice fast pace and say, all right, we're going to make you think, where are we coming from? Where do you want to try and take this gunfight? As you can see, Dolan just absolutely easily finds that two-piece. Thankfully, you got War on the other side of the map. Will bring down D-Day, who's been having a great time so far. So, yes, you were able to find one, but War, you're now in a 1v3. You have to start making it happen. Bomb down B. And you can just see all three members of the Cougars setting themselves up just to be able to look at this bomb and catch any movement that's about to happen.
They have the numbers. They have the info. You were just shouldering and shimming if you're Sen. And if there's anyone you want to watch over the bomb, it will be him. But with no time to make a play, no time to hop the bomb, that'll be GG's go next. 3-1 Cougars. They're starting to open the door once again in this map. Once we get towards this mid portion, they're finding their footing. They're figuring out how exactly they want to play Trojan Esports and instill their will, instill their timing around the map. And they've done just that here, especially with this big offensive win.
And I think that's just like real good fundamentals that we see in that round. They plan it for a window, and they have one guy down bottom arches. You got one top window. You have somebody watching the flank in the back. Like, it's a perfect setup just to make sure that there's no opportunity to let this 1v3 happen. And while most people will be in that 1v3 and probably feel very confident, they don't even make it an option. They set on up and they say, hey, this is how we're going to go ahead and play this. You have to play into us. And you see right there, those first initial shots come on out, but it's just not enough.
3 for 1 in the feed, and that's just not going to cut it in a search and destroy. You fly towards the B site, you get punished for it. Sure, War is able to find one. The flick comes in, gonna opt to make noise, maybe try to make them look at the water route and see if that's going to be an option. Again, I don't hate how War is playing this. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have the info. Makes good reads that someone could be flanking, but the Cougars have been playing so well off of one another, so well together. And because of that, they're in a position to play the trade, get team shots in, and walk away with another round. Simply put, if you aren't winning the gunfights off the break, if you're constantly in man disadvantage situations, these rounds seem near impossible every time.
Yeah, it's really, really tough. I think if you're Trojans, you have to look at this and understand that you cannot put yourself in a position where it's even a 1v2 or 1v3, because the Cougars are doing such a good job of playing together and not allowing that to happen. We even see it right there where you're trying to get some of those initial shots on in. We're trying to make that play over at the rock, but it's just not enough at the end of the day. They're set up perfectly to be able just to make that trade happen. So I don't know, if you're the Trojans, maybe slow it down a little bit. These initial bright gunfights are just not going your way. Maybe figure out a way that you can double chow something as a team. Figure out how you can go ahead and work it. You got D-Day playing alone up here. He's got some great shots, and there you go. You finally, all three of you, have to work together to find this opening, but at least you've gained some position on the map. But Dolan here, you might have had a found a timing. Can you bring this guy down top window? You can. Is there a second nearby? It looks like you are going to be able to get out for free.
Teammates able to collect that second kill, so nothing to worry about there. But a kill is going to make it a 2 versus 2. CH going to try to chase this player down, going to opt to snap back, and you can see if someone's pushing through Secret. He and his teammate going to bully up 10. They figure that's the last place he could have gone, and they are correct. Now do they work this A site? No, they opt for the wrap back to B. Simply put, high IQ plays by high IQ players. They're maneuvering the map, playing it exactly how they want to. Bomb's going to go down, and maybe with time dwindling, Bruce can catch a timing, knowing that they have to go towards the site. He's cleared it out. He's able to find the first. I'm just going to stop that statement there. Thought we were going to find the first pick and just cannot. And maybe that is the story of how this map 2 has gone.
It was a good thought. I was with you that I'm like, oh, maybe you catch a timing here. If you can kill the guy off bomb, then you don't actually basically just have to run away, play your life, right? You kill the guy off bomb. There's definitely not enough time to be able to go ahead, go pick it on up and then get it on down. But thankfully, it's just some good intuition coming in from the Cougars for while that bomb is getting planted. You got the other guy just looking top window, and that's just one of those ones where it comes down to winning the gunfight, right? You can have all of the strategy, all of the positioning you want. Got to hit your shots at the end of the day, and those are crucial gunfights you have to win if you're the Trojans.
And in this map point, Sen out to 6 in a row. Dolan 12 and 4. Everyone having an explosive map here for the Cougars. And Mel's going to try to get timing after doing the dance up top. Able to open up the first blood, but they have to take care of this man advantage that they have. Sen playing in the back lines. I mean, bomb's going to be down in the enemy spawn. No one close for a trade. He gets to get out with info, with his life. and you are essentially pinched on this left-hand side of the map. Good luck, have fun.
Yeah, Cash, I think we just need to shut up sometimes because we have these really like, yes, this is how you should play this round, and it sometimes just feels like they're listening to us and do the opposite. Having bomb get taken out at enemy spawn, not exactly great. Thankfully for the Trojans, they have been able to kind of put themselves into finally an advantage in this round. While it is map point, it might be a little bit too little too late, but could be the start of something good. We are kind of running down on the time, though. You can see the bomb trying to get planted. Dolan might be able to find a bit of a timing here. Sees him go, wait. Is this the ninja? Is this the ninja? Do they check it? Are they going to check it? They're not checking it.
They're not checking it.
They're not checking it. Wait, finally, they do, but it's just too late. It's the ninja defuse for the 6-1 for the Cougars. Oh my God, not how I expected that last round to go.
But almost a picture-perfect finish for them. I mean, what better way in a performance that dominant? I mean, you might as well end it with a ninja defuse. If you didn't have wind in the sails going into map 2, that might have just taken the last air out of it. As you go up 2-0 in that fashion, Trojan Esports with no answer at any turn. They showed glimpses, they showed moments, but you get in a man-up situation and you find a way to fumble it, you find a way to throw it away. Only one round win against this team. Just not going to be the case. You walk away with the lion's share of first bloods too. Again, that just kind of echoes back to having man advantages and just not being able to take care of things. You're not playing in positions to trade. The Cougars did a fantastic job. How many times in a 2v odd situation were they playing off of one another in positions to find quick kills? And because of that, they're able to walk away and win in a 6-1 fashion. And now going into map 3, I mean, they've got to be feeling good as ever.
Oh, yeah, you are riding that. You just absolutely ninja diffuse for the 6-1. You would love to be in that call. I love when we, it's one of the moments where in CCL, I wish we had some sort of comms or listen-ins because that would have been hilarious to hear them say. But I love that you bring it on up. Out of the 7 rounds total, 4 of them, the first bloods going in the Trojans' favor. So you were able to create yourselves to have these opportunities to clutch out these rounds, but it just wasn't enough. It's been 2 back-to-back absolute just beatings from the Cougars onto Trojans Esports. And while you have one last opportunity to stay alive here in the series, if you are the Trojans, it's a Vault Control. Now we know Control, not the best game mode for the Trojans. If you are the Cougars, well, they haven't dropped a map on any game mode thus far this season. That 6-0 is a near perfect record, and they are looking to continue doing that. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna be hopping on in to the Vault Control to see, will the Cougars make this a 3-0 or will the Trojans march this one on back in their favor? Welcome back to College COD, everybody. If you're just joining us, well, it's about to be the DoorDash series of the day as we have the SIUE Cougars taking on the Dakota State University Trojans. It was a fast hard point where it looked pretty neck and neck until, well, the Cougars were able just to absolutely run away with it. And we just ended that search with a 1v3 ninja defuse while bomb is planted for your own side. And just no checks coming on in. Absolutely crazy series we've had so far here, Cash. We're getting ready. We had our time with Hacienda. Let's move into the Vault Control. Talk to me about, if you are the Trojans heading into this Vault Control, what are you trying to do as a squad to make this not be a 3-0?
I think you're just trying to keep comms clean and correct, just making sure you're calling out what you're actually seeing. In a control, hypotheticals aren't going to be great. It's not going to be, super useful to call out, hey, he was last seen here, unless you're in a situation where, maybe you are outnumbered on a portion of the map, but with respawns moving so quickly and players going to be willing to take chances around the map, as you would expect the Cougars to do, you need to call out as correctly as you can, and you just need to keep the game in front of you. So often, especially in the search and destroy, you saw players on the flank and how quickly things flipped on their head. If you can keep these Cougars players in front of you, take some, gunfights that, again, are just at the expense of holding some irons, and then move forward beyond that. Whenever you try to move too quickly, when you try to counter pace of SIUE, it looks to kind of blow up in your face, and that's where you get the opportunity for flanks to come in. And, well, when flanks come in on a Vault Control, that allows for a door for the spawn trap to open up. So keep the game in front of you, win some easy gunfights, go from there, and again, keep those comms clean, and keep them correct where you can.
I think that's a great call out. We saw sort of in that early hard point, like I mentioned, some great signs of life from the Trojans. We're going back to that respawn type game mode. I love to see that similar aggression come out here, because while in the hard point you can make those trades and obviously it lets you move in on that objective, the Trojans have an opportunity here where they might kind of be able to play team deathmatch a little bit, kind of fry out a little bit hard, go up in the lives, and then you can really just slam on the brakes, force the Cougars to play on into you, right? You know, you have some very talented ARs on the team who are looking to hold this one on down and be able to hold down some of those lanes, especially on the outside towards Palms, and then you know, over there towards the B site as well. And then you just got to have your SMGs kind of start working that inside and finding some of those eliminations. So I feel like there's an opportunity here for the Trojans, but I'm right there with you where I feel like it's got to come down to the mental game right now, because the Cougars, they're feeling great. You know that they are just going to be all spirits after that search and destroy. They played absolutely flawless, and now here they're coming into the control. They would love to keep their 6-0 record, putting them up in 7-0, but more importantly, keep their perfect map streak running, and that would be super, super important to them. So let's hop on in to Vault Control here. Potential series point going on through SIUE. They're going to be starting our first side on defense.
Push through cat side. Gonna look to see these gunfights right now. And D-Day's gonna walk away with the first one. Can a trade come in? Answer gonna be no. 3 quickly off the board, make that all 4. And well, Dandro, we find ourselves in the position we were already weary of. They're trying to implement this spawn trap early on, and with Dolan pushing the pace, pushing the line, this one looks to get dangerous quickly. Yeah, this last kill, that's here we are, early, and thank God there's only 50 seconds left, because this one's gonna get ugly here in a second.
Yeah, you saw Quesadilla almost had the opportunity to break on through. Almost would have loved to see him just fly at that point, you know, kind of force the Cougars to really just turn around and take you off, and that might be an opportunity for your team to get out of this trap. But Dolan, you're just running for free right now. A couple of eliminations will get them on out as they spawn over towards the bathhouse. You got D-Day, aims in hand, just shooting straight laser beams, keeping you in this backside. And well, when you got D-Day up top, you're watching Dolan down below, it's going to be very hard. 26 on 12. 25 seconds left on the clock. This might just be a super clean round 1 for the Cougars. Or, well, you'll be able to make some stuff happen here as you kind of try and are able to break on out. Well, okay, I spoke too soon.
Few seconds remaining. Not much work to do. Sure, you found an opening for a moment towards the B site, but that is completely snuffed out. And once again, you just have no openings for your team to get through. Sure, one player can slip the net, but they know that it's just one player, and if we can clear this off, well, we know everyone else is going to be spawn side. So they find the kill, all arrows turn back around, all eyes forward, and with the 20 life advantage, kicking off round 1, no ticks of progress earned, is off to a very, very bad start for the Trojans, and a picture-perfect start for the Cougars.
Yeah, Cougars only 7 deaths in that round. Of course, no ticks gained on the map, but to only have 7 deaths across that is very, very impressive. Now, granted, you were able to immediately put you in the spawn trap, which I think, you know, it's very hard to play on out of that. But the fact that they got those first opening breaks, Cash, and just immediately converted into that, I think is really, really telling. Now, the question I think for both of us is here, can Trojans do the exact same thing back to them? You know, they have to understand, if you are the Cougars, hey, we were just, you know, had a couple of deaths, you know, go our way. And then, well, next thing you know, we were able to put them into spawn trap. You can't let that same thing happen. And it looks like they're already not, as it's 3 dead in the feed. And you've managed to kind of flip the spawns a little bit, as Dolan hasn't been able to find themselves over here towards Statue. And you are just putting the Jackal to range.
As the Jackal's been known to do, Dolan on a tear, and by the way, 12-0, casual, continuing to cook in this one, every streak you'd like, barring a nuke, going to be at his disposal, and I don't even know that you would need that at this point with how dominant the performance has been. Melt's trying to get around and find kills. Okay. It's aggressive out of Cougars, as they're just trying to find a soft spot, trying to push these spawns out. It's going to be on Sen to collect at least one more kill, as you have a teammate in tow. That'll be Dolan trying to at least play for a trade, play for an opportunity to work a pick. It's going to be behind enemy lines. It's going to be Sen with a free kill. That's going to be spawn control. That's going to be this clock stopped. And really everything you want to go your way is going your way, barring a crisp quesadilla maybe just being a thorn in your side for the moment.
Well, it sounds like me on a Friday night. That is for sure. As Melt We'll move on forward. You find some of the trades, but it's already one player on there. You'll get the shots in underneath the van, but it's not going to be enough. CH is here, and well, it's that infamous car bomb coming on in. Will blow up, rip you off the point. So you've managed to capture A. You still have a minute and 40 seconds on the clock as well. Some team kills come in as they are just trying to root out these players. For now, you'd love to be able to take down that player. Top Palace, you are. You bring them on down. Grenade will land on through. D-Day trying to hold some of these angles, but you look on the inside here, Cash. It's going to be Crisp Quesadilla starting to kind of play some of this angles out through water. I really liked the area, but it felt like it just wasn't enough.
Not quite enough for the moment. Is at least for Trojan Esports, you're hanging in there, you're buying time with the life discrepancy continuing to be a glaring problem. You're being outslayed handedly. Everyone with double-digit kills for the Cougars. No one with more than 5 kills for Trojan Esports, and plain and simple, that just will not get it done. Though you've bought time, though you've traded at some moments, it is going to be another round going the way of the Cougars, barring just a sliver of tick progression. And you clear 3, you just need 1 more, and at least the teammates there for the trade, but with no respawns remaining, not a matter of if, but when the Cougars look to either find these kills or jump on this point.
Yeah, I feel like at that point you had the Cougars trying to really get fancy with it and really just do whatever they could to fully get on the point, be able to secure it. But I think at this point now you realize that you basically just kind of play TDM here. Some signs of life already from the Trojans, but you can just kind of full sprint at some of these players as it's Sin with a double in water. Some love taps after it that puts well, a 1 versus 10. It's not going to be enough, though. They get on the point. They close it on down 2-0 right now for SIUE. 1 more round away from making this one a clean 3-0.
Just 1 round to close things out. SN kind of been the star of the show here, and with how well they're playing, again, everyone has had their moments. But leading the way is going to be the submachine gun player for the Cougars, paving the route for the routing that they are giving Trojan Esports. As you said, 1 round away from continuing to keep the blemish-free record, 6-0 across all maps and modes. Or excuse me, I guess it would be all maps and modes. But looking to get that to a 7-0 here in just about 90 seconds or so. 1 more stout defensive hold, and this one will be done and dusted.
Well, we saw in that first round exactly what they did. It was win these opening engagements and put you in the trap, and it looks like a little bit of deja vu already, as we are seeing a lot of kills go into the way of the Cougars. And it's Sin holding up that backside. Dolan is here in the back of the bathhouse. You get given an aims. It's exactly what you want to have. Sin's playing up top, making sure this player's not sneaking on through. It is just absolute carnage right now. 28 plays 19, 45 seconds remaining as you are just trying to read all of these spawns. You'll push them out more towards the bath side, though. That'll give Melts an opportunity to get in onto A, down through Vault, but you have to make this read if you are the Cougars. Okay, the Trojans, you made it on out, but it seems like you're split, not really committing to any objective.
And that's just hard whenever they know these players could pounce at any moment for the Cougars. And sure, you've got Meld maybe trying to play some cutoff kills, but cutoff doesn't matter too much whenever they're in your spawn side, and at least able to find 1, but no clock being stopped just yet. And with there being 17 seconds, even if you can find kills, they know you cannot afford misplays. All they have to do is put eyes towards the site and clear you off. Not doing too bad of a job. First tick of progress coming in. Sure, lives are a little dicey for the moment, but again, with an opportunity here to work this A side, if they can find another wave of kills, they could get 60 more seconds.
I mean, you have to. It's literally a series point on the line. You're doing it, though, if you are the Trojans for now. Second tick trying to come on through, but D-Day gonna do a great job. Stay alive. CH finds it on the other side, and it's all crumbling now for the Trojans. Clock is ticking on down. The Cougars doing an absolutely flawless run here, keeping the record alive as they look to go on to the 7-0. It's just going to be Sin. You got to clean up 1 more. You're able to do it. The time will finally bring on down. It is the Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville Cougars that will take this one in a 3-0 over Dakota State University Trojans. I mean, Cash, I think we saw some great Call of Duty coming out of SIUE. I don't think we were expecting this in the control.
Especially with how, close at least the head-to-head showed us. On paper, right, it was looking like, okay, Trojan Esports can give it a run. It looks like a team that hasn't had the worst go at things, but I think it was less maybe, oh, the Trojans just aren't a great team. I think it's more so the Cougars are in a fantastic spot this early on, imposing their will, doing whatever they want around the map. I think Trojan Esports are going to be just fine, and I think they are a good team. I just think right now SIUE are just levels above the competition for the moment as far as the early part of the season is concerned. Dominant from start to finish, continue to have a perfect record across the board. And any team that's got them on the schedule better be on the lookout, especially going into this divisional breakoff. They're going to be sitting real pretty here as far as that restructure is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, they are feeling great going into the restructure here soon. 7-0, you're feeling absolutely fantastic. And you are the Trojans. I guess the only thing I would say is, you still feel good. You're 5-2, right? It's not a terrible record. We've definitely seen worse ones coming on in here. But you look back at some of those mistakes, I think, in some of those maps, because that to me feels like a great VOD review sesh where it wasn't like the Trojans were necessarily like just playing absolutely terrible. It just felt like there were some couple mistimings, some miscommunications among the team that then we were watching the Cougars just really take advantage of. And those are easy things to fix with just some straight up VOD review, sitting down as a team, working on some of your communication and how you want to play the map. So good stuff that came out of the Trojans, but man, did the Cougars just make it look easy.
They really did. I mean, had their way handedly at every turn. They were able to kind of counter anything the Trojans threw at them and continue to impose their will from start to finish. So they looked comfortable. They looked confident on double Hossie we saw, and then the vault control, of course. And again, with a team that's this good, looking to have, as I would assume the season goes on, right, a big map pool with what we have, they're going to be a scary team to keep an eye on.
Definitely scary indeed. Catch, it's been awesome being here for this match with you. That's two of our matches here for tonight's CCL done and dusted. We got one more banger coming on up for you. It is, of course, Farmingdale State College Esports taking on Rutgers Esports. A little New York versus New Jersey rivalry. I love it, of course, being from Boston myself. So I love watching two New York teams battle it on out. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be hopping on into that match. So do not go anywhere. It's week 4 of the College COD League.